I know that you sneak around onto all of the fancy model making websites and look at all the fancy models that they have for sale, and I know that you sneak them into the cart or trolley or basket or whatever it is on that particular website, and you think, you just imagine yourself, I would buy these models for this particular budget or that budget or whatever, and I do exactly the same thing, and that is what this series is about. I set myself an imaginary budget of £50 to look at the various models on various websites, and today I am looking at Goblin King Games. Although their website seems to just be Moonstone the game, and that's fine, they have one game, and that does kind of lean into the kind of limited selection of the models in this video. Goblin King Games are relatively new, a few years old now, but they have a relatively limited selection of stuff, although certainly well more than £50. And some of the models are really nice. However, unlike my previous videos where I have a decent idea of some of the models on the website, I don't have a view of everything on the website, and so as I'm going through I'm finding new things and getting excited about it. In this case, I have actually looked through the entire catalogue of the Moonstone models. They're all really nice, and I've also maybe already picked my £50 budget, the models that I would buy, because there are definitely some favourites for me. So let's just have a look through, and then I'll show you the models that I would pick. Although maybe along the way I find something new and interesting. So from the actual Moonstone the game website, to get to the shop is a little bit convoluted, and I kind of like the idea that they're advertising their game and the world, and selling the models isn't necessarily being pushed on the website, and that's a nice touch. They are really invested in the world, the story, the feeling of playing, and not just, hey, we made a game that you can buy models for, buy models, buy our stuff. And that's just a nice way of doing things. So we have a quick description with some beautiful models. Some of the paint jobs are absolutely amazing, and we'll have a closer look as we go. We've got a little tab here that talks about the game itself, how it plays, kind of how you put together the forces, and how the abilities and how the turn sequence works, stuff like that. Of course, they have the updates like a vlog, but we really want to get to the miniatures, the models themselves. And when we go to that, if I, for example, go to the gnomes section, you'll see that there's no prices on any of these. And so I have to click onto one of these, and then finally it actually takes me to one of the sets where that model is from. From there, oddly, I have to go to browse, and now I finally get to the shop, which is shop.moonstonethegame.com. Like I said, they're not overly pushy about selling the models, but there's just an extra click or two to get to the shop. It's not that big of a deal, and like I said, I like that that's their emphasis. So now that we've finally got to the models, let's just have a look at new releases. Let's just see what's brand fresh and new. Just 2 sets, but that's cool. A big tree person called Gump, which, yeah, it's nice enough. I've seen a lot of different types of tree people. This is not necessarily kind of the style that I would go for, but it's certainly a nice model. Now, this one, on the other hand, the other brand new set is the Wordwood set. When we have 2 more tree people, again, nice models, not necessarily what I go for. And this shape-shifting fox lady, which is just a beautiful model. The way that it's painted is really nice as well. And yeah, I want that. I don't necessarily want the other 2 in the set, but I definitely want that. If we scroll down to the 3D renders, she is Drainier. I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. It's the problem with having a language that's made of 16 other languages in a blending pot and mixed together. You end up with a lot of letters and a lot of sounds associated with them. Drainier? No idea. She looks cool. And painting this with all the ginger fox fur and was it green in the clothes, blue in the dress. That was really nicely done. Yeah, the color choice in the paint job is really nice, but also just the model itself is really nicely sculpted, and I would love to paint that. We will see in a moment that there are some models that you can buy singly rather than in sets, and she is one of them. So when we get to that, I will add her to the shortlist. So the various factions in Moonstone are kind of humans, but we've also got some of the kind of mystical, not quite humans, like the fawn people. So let's have a look at the fawns. And I think the Hunting Horns set really shows this the best, because this is this kind of creature would often be called a beast man in earlier kind of older styles of fantasy story, but having them referred to as fawns is much more appropriate, much less kind of evil race kind of idea. Hoff here is a big chunky dude with a horn, but he's also got horns himself. Is that off of someone he's killed? One of his own race? Has he shed it and used it his own horn? I don't know how that would work. Antlers do get shed every year. Horns, I don't know. It depends. It depends. They are deer. The fawn are deer people. So, yes? Maybe? That's interesting. I don't know the answer to that question. Really cool, and we've got that kind of classic double jointed. Technically, that is the heel. In comparison to a human's foot, we have a very kind of the same joints, but in a different layout, kind of in terms of how long the bones are. And so this kind of deer leg, but also semi-human on the upper torso. But unfortunately an archer, and I find archers to be terribly dull. If she was swinging around a great big sword or something, much more interesting. And this one, Mr. Toodles, that strikes me as like, I don't know, the like there are folk tales of horrible creatures. I'm getting mixed up because he's playing this horned flute kind of thing. Maybe it'll come back to me. I'm not sure. There's something that this is reminding me of. But it's a cool model, nicely sculpted. Let's have a look at the painted version of that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Not going in the shortlist though, I think. The Wild Things set, however, is much cooler. So not only have we got another version of the Little Folk with an archer this time, unfortunately, kind of uninteresting. We have this guy with just strips of leather and a... Let's have a look at this picture, if I can articulate any better what I'm looking at. Again, we've got the deer legs, covered face with just the eyes poking out. This would be really interesting. I love how they've done the OSL. It's kind of fashionable to do OSL in models these days, but certainly that looks very good. But really in this set, the one that I'm looking at is the Wendigo down here, and let's have a look at the 3D view down here. That looks so cool. The skull, the joints on the legs, but also the kind of clawed front hand rather than the more human-like that the other ones have. Vicious looking creature, really nicely done. I like that. A Boris the Bunny Summoner. Of all of the things that you could think of, kind of giving me a little bit of Radagast vibes here, but here's a fawn. He's got the legs there, and 3 just cool little rabbits. That's pretty, actually, yeah, they are pretty cool. This one's just happily sitting there, just really enjoying life, sitting around. This one's viciously. That's kind of fun. Yeah, and Boris themselves. That's a pretty cool. There's a lot of painting styles that you could do on that kind of cloak. There's plenty of space to actually. Yeah, they've done layered up in different colours. Although I probably would do them all the same colour, but just have a strong separation, a big shadow underneath that gap. That's a pretty cool model. I'm tempted to put Boris the Smuggler, the Summoner, Boris the Summoner on the shortlist. And then we have one of the single models and a jackalope. An enormous giant bunny. Now, I wish they had some scaling for this, because it doesn't really show how big this is. But given that this is one of the more expensive models, I'm expecting it to also be one of the larger models. Maybe I'll have to go and look up some images of these models side by side. I'm sure someone's done some somewhere. But just to give an idea of how big these single characters are. Alright, let's have a look at some of the boring humans. Although, they're not really that boring, are they? The Black Powder set, very, very pirate themed. Swashbuckler with, what is that shield called? Buckler shield, or a boss shield sometimes. Tiny little shield and a rapier. That swashbuckling style, really cool pose on a broken ship kind of thing. Cool model. A lady here on a treasure chest with a pistol of some description. Do we get a better view? Not really. She looks cool. That's actually just a badass pose as well. Oh, peg leg. I didn't notice that. So she's got a human kind of normal leg on the treasure chest, and then the prosthetic on the ground. That's a pretty cool pose, actually. Yeah, that is cool. But lastly, with a pun name, we have the Powder Monkey lobbing an old-fashioned black powder grenade. That's just fun. That is just fun, isn't it? That's a really cool set. Like, a couple of really cool pirate characters and a funny monkey bomb chucker. This is going to go on the shortlist because just it's fun, and there's plenty of opportunity for all kind of painting going on there. And we also have the Masquerade. Very fancy kind of... I don't know what period this would be. I don't know my historical periods. Kind of, there's a lot of Americana, like early Americana, highborn kind of... I'm not as much of a fan of the Duchess here. It might just be the mask, actually. The Masquerade mask that she's got. There's a little bit of Bioshock kind of sneaking into my mind here, but maybe that's just because they also had Masquerade type masks as well. The Creep, or just Creep, that's okay, fine. Overly fancy dressed kind of chap. And Claudia Duvel. Nice. Cool name. That's actually almost more of a piratey kind of... Not really, though, is it? Let's have a look at the... Yeah, she's... Oh, is she the highway woman? The kind of bandit on the streets kind of thing? Is that what that's... Actually, that is kind of cool. Not as much a fan of the other two. So, let's head back to... and as I mentioned, we'll look at some of the single models. A lot of these do appear in the sets, but we'll look at the single models later. Leschvelt Spirits and Cultists. I don't remember seeing this. Eric the Enlightened, another larger scale model. On a just massive... That's cool creature that he's riding on there. And kind of suit of armor with leaves. This would make a nice wood elf kind of army commander, or a skirmish game like Moonstone, for example. That would be a cool one to have. The Cursed. And there's definitely some film references going on here. The Beast, obviously. Fancy dapper dressed chap with mean and angry expression. That's kind of cool. The Revenant, not as much of a fan of that. It does look cool though. I'm just not sure about it. It's nicely done, it's just not clicking with me. I guess that's it. And then we have the Shining Girls. Oh, there's one with the possessed by a ghost. Is that Striga Anya and Anya Bartol? I wonder if this is actually a character in the game that... This is one character, but it flips between a normal form and a possessed form. That possessed version is really cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, that is pretty nice. But also, the Shining reference is always gonna get bonus points. In the End Is Nigh set, we have a horrifying clown with a bundle of onions? Tennis balls? Cricket balls? I'm no idea what that is. A doomsayer with a bell, kind of town crier, kind of. That's a fun little. He's got his little party hat on. And is the wooden board just flat? Yeah, I guess you can freehand any writing that you'd like onto it. And then this lady at the back. What is her name? Callista, a Jishibalt priestess. Now that's a cool model, and that's the kind of thing. I mentioned this in previous videos. Kind of the kind of druid kind of character. That's a really cool model for that, and a big furry cloak. Yeah, everyone watching this channel knows I like my cloaks, so there's that as well. She's pretty cool. Not a fan of this guy in the slightest. This guy's alright, just not my thing, I guess. A Witch in Time. Pun names, always good. And here we have that kind of trio of the beautiful young witch, the kind of old witch, and then the impossibly old, held together by magic, on her way to being Yoda, 900 years old. When you are look this good, you will not. But the sculpting, again, is really nice. Not as much of a fan of these two. They're nice, but they're just not. She looks more like a barmaid than. In fact, I think I have a model that is a barmaid that looks very similar to this. However, this one, Danica the Dust Witch, that's cool. She's really cool. The kind of haggard Wicked Witch of the West kind of style. The clawed fingers. Oh, the little bones of the children who have come before on her dress. Or skirt, rather. She's cool. I like her. The other two are nice, just not my thing. Who next? Who next shall we look at? Let's look at the goblins. So I believe the goblins are one of the groups that come in the starter set. In fact, yep, here it is. The 2-player starter set. So let's have a look, because one of these is an exclusive Grub. So Grub is a bug with a bug's chemical sprayer and a little knife. And also Friar Flavius is one of the starter set exclusives. Yeah, big dude with a club. Also not that interesting. Huh. But as we're looking at goblins at the moment, let's look at the others. I don't think any of these are really interesting to me. The humans, any more interesting? A little. Maybe it's just because they're not as bad as the goblins. They're a little. I mean, I like the squire, the kind of kid carrying all of the nice stuff. That's an interesting model. The other two, none of the models in the starter set are any interest to me, which is a shame, because I do actually want to get into playing this game, and buying the starter set is obviously where you're supposed to start, hence the name. Maybe I'll just have to buy the rulebook by itself. Anyone in the comment section wants to tell me, can I just buy the rulebook and that's fine and I can play off of that? Or is there stuff in the starter set that you actually need? I know this game uses D4s, D10s and D6s. I've got plenty of those. The models I'd buy, but then is there like decks of cards or tokens or other things? I guess there's a lot of tokens that you can just make. It's not a problem. Right, I'm getting sidetracked, so let's move on. Pirate goblins. Now these guys should have been the starter set. Look at them. They are a whole boatload of fun. This guy on a wheelbarrow pirate ship. Come on. How is that not your starter set? Guys, come on. That's awesome. This guy's a treasure chest with something in the treasure chest, and also he's wearing an octopus as a hat, and the octopus has, as you might expect, 8 weapons. I wonder what gameplay mechanics he uses. I don't know how to play Moonstone, so I can't really. I guess we can have a look at the swiggity shoo. Nope, I can't necessarily. There's some reload ability on the pistol, or maybe that's just it. The octopus reloads for him. The last model in this, another pirate lookout on a massive crustacean And the crustacean has a hook. Oh, that's actually cool. Is this one of the crabs that has like the big dueling claw and then the little kind of manipulating to eat claw? That's cool. Okay, this whole set is going on my shortlist because they're cool. Wheelbarrow pirate ship, the octopus hat with many weapons, and riding the crustacean with the two claws in different sizes and the hook. That's cool. That's cool. This is why I love looking at these models, because they are, everything from Moonstone is beautifully whimsical and silly, and yeah, definitely keeping those around. Death and Taxes set. Lawyers. Nah, let's skip over them. That is most definitely a thing. The Rule the Roost set, and this chap at the back's got butterfly wings, which looks very cool. Is any of that sculpted? It is. Okay. So there's definitely freehand going on with some of it, but some of it is kind of the veins of the wings are sculpted in, which is nice. Gives people the opportunity to freehand or kind of just go with the sculpt. Either way, that's nice. The other two, less interesting. This guy's got a hat with a wooden... Is that like a cockerel's? Yeah, just a lot of the stuff in the Goblin faction is either really, really cool or just odd, and I don't get it. And maybe that's what's happening here. Mushrooms and mayhem and blunderbuss. This guy's got a mushroom as an umbrella, and this guy is absolutely drunk. Oh, C6 stew. All right. Have a nice drink of water. You'll feel right as rain in no time. These are cool. Not necessarily my favourites today, but oh, he's got a pipe. He's got smoke effect in the pipe and smoke effect from the blunderbuss. Interesting. Nice. Ah, so the Goblin City. This looks like the models from the starter set. These two look like the starter set. This one, is that from the starter set or is that a different one? No, I think it is. Yeah. So that's this. Buying it separately, obviously you don't get the starter set exclusive model in that. Ooh, that's strange. I actually quite like that. So we've got a fire spitter. So I think this is some kind of flamethrower, whimsical kind of baffle powered. So we've got a goblin on the back with baffles that's probably blowing the fuel through the hose, and then he's got a candle as his pilot light, but he's also got another candle on his hat. This is what I'm saying about the goblins being just odd. And sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, and I think this time I think I like it. Yeah, that's actually a really odd, strange, but kind of cool concept. Yeah, I like that. Okay, moving on to the gnomes. And we have actually a few sets here. The Rune Fated. And this guy right here, straight away, I can't remember the character's name, but it's the mayor from Asterix and Obelisk. Like the village elder. This is reminding me very strongly of that. A dog cart with someone riding on him. Yeah, that seems to be what that is. And some kind of live mage of some description with an owl. Oh, the owl is cool. I like that. Oh, the braid though. Okay, that's cool. I like her. I like him. The dog cart not so much, but I like the other two. They're really cool. Mama's boys. A gnome riding on a goat, very angrily swinging a sword. I like that one. That's kind of cool. I assume this is the mama in question. She looks very unhappy. She's not angry, she's just disappointed. And over here we've got a crossbow and a cooking pot as a helmet, because of course you wear a cooking pot as a helmet. That's just how it works. I like this guy. Billy. Yeah, Billy Goat, obviously. I like that one. Yeah, it's alright. Not going on the shortlist though. Okay, the brothers in arms. So we've got the children and the mum, and now we've got the brothers. It's definitely family connections is the running theme here. What have you actually got in your hand? A pickaxe. Ah, a miner who has an actual proper mining helmet with a lantern in it. That's cool. All of the beard, just all of the beard. Every beard is right here, and a pipe. And this one reminds me of I've met this guy. I've worked with this guy. He's a dick. Don't like it. No, seriously, he's reminding me of someone I used to know, and that's oh, never mind. I like this one, Graddock with the smoke in the pipe. This is actually something I come back to every now and again. I like the not necessarily a model wielding a weapon or being jumping around and dynamic combat kind of stuff, but just a dude standing around smoking a pipe. That's a nice thing to paint. I think I'd enjoy painting this. And the miner as well, similar kind of thing. Obviously a pickaxe can be used as a weapon, but it is a mining tool. Very grumpy looking issue. I love how they've captured just the expression on that. I wonder if I would be able to capture that in painting. That is really nicely done. I like that. Yeah, I like these two. This one, unfortunately, by association, is knocked out, but the other two are really nice. This seems to be a running theme that I like one or two of a set, but I don't like all of a set, and that may come back later on when we find out which set that I have been eyeing up myself. Although saying that, the Outlanders, I think all three of these are really cool. So, Joanna, the Nordic princess, reminds me of... Oh, what's the character's name? How I Trained Your Dragon. I think it might be Astrid that I'm thinking of. It's not quite the same, but this character's got a double-ended spear, braids in the hair. I'm kind of sad. I'm not 100% sure if these kind of molded bases are actually included with the model. Is there a base topper set that you have to buy separately? I don't know. Because in the 3D renders it actually doesn't show them, so I guess I'll have to look into that. So this guy, Muriday, is he Scottish? Oh, these are the Outlanders. Muriday. He's wearing a rat. Can't really get around that. He's wearing a rat as a cloak and a hat, and that's cool. That's really cool. I think this is probably up there with some of my favourite models, actually, so far. And this guy, also really cool. Just there's nothing particularly special about this guy. He's just kind of a Scot with a hammer, which is a cool concept. But he's not a particular Scot with a hammer. He's just a Scot with a hammer. But it's a really nicely done model. Let's have a look at the so we've got the cloak at the back, a bit of a beard, hammer. I like that. I like that character. I particularly like this one. I also very much like this one. So actually, now that I've said about not liking everything in a set, I do like everything in this set. So let's move on before I start buying more stuff. The Gnomish airship with a pedal-powered fan at the back. And this guy just hanging underneath it. That's kind of fun, actually. That's kind of an interesting idea. I'm not necessarily sold on it, but it's interesting. Okay, we have the Giants and Trolls. Now, unlike a lot of the others, these are actually single models because they're larger models. So, could probably just skip through these fairly quickly. I think Dim and Dimmer is my favourite of the Giants models. The kind of the two heads that are definitely just done with each other. One of them's wearing a cow as a scarf, which is an odd idea. They've got a bag of something. There's someone's hand is sticking out of that. That's lunch probably. But yeah, I like this. I think that's a cool concept for a model. Bloated, distended, double heads, massive, chunky fists, and a club and it's a normal looking cleaver in there, but by the time you get to the... Oh, is that in the background? Oh, I thought that this wispy bit was actually part of the model. It's not. That's in the background. Dear Moonstone, you might want to move this model just a bit so that it's not, so that we don't get that looking like part of the model. Otherwise, no. The cleaver and the club, that's, yeah, pretty decent weaponry for a two-headed giant who has a scarf, cow scarf. Just interesting. I like it. Ribold the troll, who has a goblin on his back with a little cannon, and quick magazine pouches of cannonballs. I don't know where the gunpowder is, but it's kind of interesting. Armored upper torso, shoulders and that. Armored gauntlets, but nothing on the legs and belly. Given that he's the giant and that everything he's going to fight, or most of the stuff he's going to fight, is going to be smaller than it, surely you would expect him to have armor lower down, because that's where he's going to get hit. Or am I overthinking things? Maybe I'm just overthinking things. Boulder the troll, who has several boulders with some rock art on them, and also he's got a rocks as a hat. And also, is he just growing rocks out of his body? That's interesting. Not 100% a fan of this, but it is kind of a cool model. And if these are rocks, I wonder if you could... I wonder painting those up in like a glowing red or a glowing green kind of crystal. That would be interesting for this. Yeah, like this. Paint him up as the Moonstone troll. There you go. It's the Moonstone game. You're about collecting Moonstone. Well, he's growing Moonstone out of his everywhere. There you go. There's a painting idea. Okay, we have another group of humans, the Commonwealth humans, and I think this set, the Barony, is from the starter set. So yeah, these three characters are in the starter set, as we mentioned before. These characters, they're alright. I kind of like the Squire a little bit, but not really. Yeah. So the single larger model is Sir Hogswash, which is a brilliant name. And it's just a chap riding a massive feral pig. I love that absolutely tiny little moustache sticking out from under the helmet. You can barely see it in the model. It's much more prominent in the artwork, which is a shame. But I mean, it's not a shame that the artwork's nice. The artwork is really nice. Just a shame it's not as prominent on the model. That's kind of cool, actually. I like that. Having this model leading your cavalry would be kind of cool. The Administration of Justice. Oh, great, we have more lawyers. Although, that said, they're a bit more interesting than the other set. Not a lot more interesting. Moonstone keeps doing to me where I'm like, oh yeah, I totally understand this model. And then I can look again and I'm like, no, that's very different from what I thought it was. So Tabby the Librarian has a hand on a stick. Is that for getting books on the tall shelves? She's got some kind of step ladder thing that someone else is pushing, who has a scroll, and she's got a book. I assume she's a mage of some description. That's silly. I like it. You're boring, and you're also boring. She's the interesting one in this set. You cannot tell. That's such a disappointing way that they've done the picture. You cannot tell anything about that model from this picture. You have to come and look at this to see what's going on. Come on, sort that out. You should have a picture of the model, like, put her here, move him to there, move him to the back, move her to the front, and have her sideways so that you can see this guy kind of pushing the step stool from underneath. Because that's the selling point of this set. I don't think I'm sold. It's not that good. I have just realised that this guy's wearing a peacock as a hat, which is kind of fun. Okay, I take it back. You're not completely uninteresting. Just mostly. The Rags to Riches set. So we have Oliver Twist, Natty, the slum thief. A rich baron who's just asking to be punched in the face. Handing out a bag of gold. That's something that they generally don't do. They've got plenty more going on. Good grief. Pouches of something, I'm sure. And another blunderbuss lady. Yeah, she's kind of cool. Gertrude the Fairy Hunter? No. No, you don't. No. Tumbledown Streets. Sure? Oh, we have actual Tavern Frau. Tavern Girl. Literally the Tavern Girl. I said earlier that the other character kind of looked like a model I already have. Well, this one's just not even pretending anymore. This massive guy with ridiculous plumed elbows and a big old grin. He's alright. Oh, I've definitely seen an anime with you in before. With your Illuminati eyeball. Are you from Avatar? Is this from The Legend of Korra? Oh no, it's Boomy I'm thinking of from Avatar. Yeah, it was Avatar I was thinking of. There you go. He's very much like Boomy, and he's found an exploding jar of something. And he's called the Quack. Excellent. Yeah, I kind of like them, but nowhere near as much as some of the other stuff. Because the fairies, the fae creatures, are my favourites of this whole set, of this whole website. So let's have a look through these. The Malachite Mystics. And straight away, this butterfly lady just looks like the 1970s with all of the flowers in her hair. Something punk rocker with flowers in her hair. Really nice model. This is I think this is actually one of the fawn creatures, because we have that kind of leg arrangement, but also a bell flail. Yeah, go for it. Covered in bells, actually. Loads of bells and a bell flail. Well, if you're going to have a gimmick, you may as well lean into it. And then at the back, look at that. Cool. I love how they've done the floating character. Again, this is another fawn character. Floating character with the... Is it her hair or her cloak? I think it's her cloak wisping around, and that's what's supporting the model. It's a really nice way of doing that, rather than having like a flight stand, which... acrylic flight stands I do not like. This is a much nicer way of doing things. And is that rock with symbol on it? I think that is actually part of the model, so yeah. That's cool. I like that. Definitely like her, and kind of like this one as well. But this one... Oh, I wish I knew how big this model was. Unfortunately, we do seem to have an acrylic flight stand, but I'll get around that. So... Recently, I painted from a different company a model that's similar concept to this in terms of a cavalry character, but a flying creature. In this case, we have a wasp, and I would love to have this paint it not necessarily like the box art, but paint it more like a real-world wasp, kind of the black and yellow and the browns. But having that as a counterpart to my previous model would be... They would look good on the shelf next to each other, but I don't know how big this character is, which is a shame. I'd like to see it at least in comparison to some other Moonstone models, because at least then you get an idea, but I may have to look up some pictures of her, Vespa, and the wasp to see how big this model is, because this is really cool. The Shadow Glade set. I'm not as interested in this, I think. Some kind of dude hanging out on a tree. He's a fairy of some description. He's got his little wings and he's floating around a tree stump. This guy seems more like a grasshopper. The way the wings are folded reminds me of Bug's Life. Let's ride. The spear is cool. I can't really see it clearly from any of these angles, but that kind of double-headed spear, or are they javelins? They might be javelins, actually. That might be just a stack of javelins. I like this. Yeah, actually, I do kind of like Wasp as a character. And then we have Silver Tongue. Emaciated little chap sitting on a tree branch. Less of a fan of that. Yeah, I think Wasp is the only character in this set that I'm really interested in. Don't like the other two as much. Oh, but here we get going, because we have the Blood Magic set, and don't they look good? Doesn't that look amazing? The freehand on the wings, look at that. It's so cool. And this guy he's wearing lavender as a hat. I think you can see it, yeah, you can see it better in the 3D render. He's wearing lavender as a hat. He's got a little shiv that he's got out of kind of the spike of a thorn of a tree branch or something. This lady, Diana, the Queen of the Fae, fantastic model. I absolutely adore this. And you notice all of that kind of effect on the wings there. It's not in the sculpt. It's actually fairly smooth, and so that's all freehand work. So firstly, really beautifully painted, and just the staff and the clawed double jointed legs there, just a really cool model. I'm actually interested because the base is included in the 3D render of this, so maybe that is included in this model. I don't know how that works. Looks like some of these that are climbing on trees, the tree is included in the model, so maybe it is. But there's also Belladonna, also climbing over a tree, also loads of wings. This does have some veining in there, so you don't have to rely on freehanding for that. But she seems to be pouring some kind of poison or something. Shit, this is cool. I definitely like the Queen. I kind of like the other two as well. So this is a good place we are with this set. But then there's the Enclave, and oh, look at these. They are fantastic. Look at their colors. Look at the sculpting of this, the way that they're painted, the art style of them. These are beautiful models. They are fantastic. So Tito first, who's this one here. We do have the veins sculpted in the wings, so we've got plenty of opportunity for freehand, but we also have the kind of the sculpted veins so that you don't have to completely rely on freehanded. Billowing hair going on, massive open surface for painting, comes on a tree branch. Such a cool model. Freya, the wispy kind of whirlwind effect, the way that that's sculpted is amazing. I hope that's a separate piece, because I'd actually like to paint that and paint the model, because it'd be really hard to get into the legs to paint that if it's assembled in one piece there. But we've also got these caterpillar kind of wings. I'm not entirely sure how to even describe that. Massive billowing hair, tree branches sticking out of her head, because of course. That's cool. That's so cool. And then we have the fencer dangling from a tree. Oh, by the claw of a foot. It's not actually flying past. He's actually grabbed hold and kind of lowering themselves down. We do have a little bit of sculpting on the wings. Yeah, the kind of the large, like the face that makes predators scared of you when you're kind of sitting there with your wings open, that kind of thing. But that's such a cool pose, leaping down kind of from the tree with a sword out. This set is fantastic, and I want it. And now that we're at the end of the list, we can start having a look at some of these sets and whittling it down to the £50 budget that I mentioned at the beginning. And even though we know, because I've already admitted it, that I have chosen, I wonder which one I have chosen. It's this set. I've chosen this set. This is my big spend. £32 for 3 models is not too terrible. It's a bit much, but given that you only need 3 or 4 models to play this game, it's not as expensive as 50 or 100 models for a war game that I would usually play. So there's that. And they are so nicely sculpted that I don't think I would be upset with this. I would definitely love the Outlanders, because all 3 of those are really cool. I definitely want the Booties Bilge, because they're ridiculous and I love them. The Black Powder set was also a lot of fun. The 2 pirates and the Powder Monkey. Brilliant set. I would definitely like them. Boris the Bunny Summoner. I'm less interested in this than I was earlier, but it is a nice set. And I do still have some of the larger models. Dim and Dimmer definitely would like. I think almost what I actually want is to break the budget entirely and get the Enclave, the Blood Magic, and Vesper. That pretty much doubles my actual budget, so I can't do that for the video today. But this is definitely a model I would like, but it's not what I'm choosing. And it was a tough call between these 2 sets, the Enclave and the Blood Magic set, because I think Diana, the Queen of the Fae, is my favourite of all of them, but I think that I love all 3 of the Enclave models so much that the set, as a set, the Enclave wins. But if the Enclave set is winning at £32, that means I've got £18 left. I can't buy another set, of course, because the cheapest of those is 21, but what I can do is have a look through the single models, the single miniatures set here, because I can pick out Draenor, that shape-shifting fox lady. I can pick out Bjorn with his axe, loads of fun there. Could pick either of the pirates. Hoff, the Fae creature, was definitely high on the list. Oddly, Tabby the Librarian as well was actually kind of cool. Definitely Reagan, the floating Fae with the cloak. That was really nice. Callista the Leshvault Priestess, really cool model. The Possessed Anya was also very cool. And Danica the Dusk Witch, 1150. She's one of the cheaper ones. Definitely a nice idea. And I guess Gertrude the Fae Hunter as well. If you're gonna have loads of Fae, because I am gonna have loads of Fae, I may as well have Gertrude the Fae Hunter as the opposition for that. What set was she in? I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. Let's go through and decide which of these that I actually want, because Gertrude would be fun, but I don't think she's the winner here. Bjorn is also cool, but also not the winner. Neither is Hoff, although definitely high on the list because that's a cool model. Callista, the Leshvault Princess, really nicely sculpted. I love how all these feathers and the fur and the cloak and the antlers of the kind of the skull as a hat. Everything about this model is really nice, and she is definitely on my I want this model list. But she's not winning. Neither is Danica the Dusk Witch. Although, again, really cool, and I love the finger bones, and I love the claws, and the Wicked Witch of the West vibe that she's got. Absolutely fantastically sculpted. Because I think the answer to the question has to be the absolutely beautiful Dranya model. The shape-shifting into a fox. Hey, I'm an Animorphs fan, and having the middle of those 5 images be a model that I can paint is just such a cool idea. And isn't she just such a beautiful model? The dress, the foxtail, and the shape-shifting of the face, so nicely sculpted. Oh, and the artwork is so cute too. Oh, I didn't realise that. I might have to go through the website and look at some of the 2D artwork, because, oh, they're really nice. Yeah, Dranya is the single miniature that I will be picking, and the Enclave is the set that I would start with. So what that means is I have come to £45.50. It is kind of difficult on a website like this to pick a kind of a closer to £50 kind of thing, because there's really only the sets and the single models, and they're all kind of similarly priced in a lot of ways. But there are so many things that I could pick. I could have a £200 or £300 budget and still miss out on things that I really want. So just having these are the coolest models, I think. That Dranya is just such a beautiful model, and all 3 in the Enclave are fantastic. but I think it has to be these at the top of the list. But any of a dozen other models I would be happy with any of a dozen other models, is what I'm saying. Everything on this website is absolutely beautiful. And so with that, I can call the video finished. Thank you very much for sticking around on what is very often a very long video with these £50 challenges. And it's usually just an hour of me going, oh, that's cool, oh, that's cool, oh, that's cool, oh, I like how that's painted. So, I mean, people seem to like them. I have had a few people mention that it's very therapeutic just to listen to me be excited and talking about stuff. If you like it, then I'm very happy that you like it, and I'm glad that you stuck around. If there are any other websites that you'd like me to look at, I do have a long list of websites to look at that's been posted by various people in the community, in the comment section and otherwise. So do post a comment, I'll add you to the list, and I do make sure to mention whoever suggested something if I do do those. But for now, I've got a whole bunch of models that I would love to buy for Moonstone. But I also really want to play the game of Moonstone, so I should probably... There's a few people at my local group, I'm told, that play it, so I'm definitely going to have to look at that, because the models are absolutely beautiful. The game does seem like a lot of fun, I just need to get around to playing it. Right, I'm probably rambling, that sounds like I'm rambling, so with the models chosen, the video can end. I'm ED-SKaR, always will be, and thank you very much for watching. Oh, no, not you. Apparently it's bedtime. Ha! I'm staying up until way later than this. Thanks for letting me know, though.